Hey everyone. Here is my defense of Shinji. Um I and I initially started off trying to review Evangelion, and I found myself in this completely different topic than I initially started. So I'm just going to explain it to you. I was reading a lot of what people were saying about Evangelion, and I feel like people are a bit unfair in what they say about Shinji. I feel like everyone from the reviewers to the diehard fans to the fucking voice actor that played Shinji in the English translation seems to hate this character. And they hate the character for what seems like two main reasons. One, they hate him because he's whiny. Two, they hate him because they feel like if they were in the same situation as Shinji, that they would have just fucking piloted the Evangelion and they would had no problem. They would have saved the fucking day and just rode in on a fucking unicorn and like killed all the Avas and just done. It's done. It's a wrap. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's way unfair to the character. People seem to say he's childish. Well, one thing to remind you is that Shinji is only 14. He's technically still a child. Um, let's not also forget that for all intents and purposes, he's kind of an orphan. His dad kind of just sent him off and said, I have better things to do. And instead of enjoying the formative years of adolescence, Shinji is forced to fucking murder repeatedly. Let us not forget that angels have souls, and the show goes through great lengths to show us that humans and angels are fundamentally the same. The kid needs counseling, for God's sakes. It's clear that from the beginning that Shinji doesn't like to pilot the Eva, and he also doesn't seem to like himself very much. Um, he doesn't seem to like killing angels in any way. The only thing that seems to motivate Shinji to even pilot the Eva at all is the fact that if he doesn't, literally the world will die. Like I feel like if the stakes were any lower, Shinji would just be gone. Because at every moment that he's feeling the pressure, he leaves because he really, really doesn't want to do it. And could you imagine if you hated doing something? Just you hated this more than anything in the world. Like you hated the way it made you feel, the way it made you interact. You hated the act. You hated everything about it. It was potentially life threatening, and everyone's asking you to do this constantly, and you absolutely hate doing this. I feel like most people wouldn't be like, yeah, let's let's get into this Ava and start killing angels. Like no, like 99% of you people, you're not in life threatening situations. You're not going through the stress of this. I feel like just to dismiss that is almost being dismissive of like what makes Shinji such an interesting character. I feel like Shinji's actions in the end of Evangelion, the movie, did not help him out. I think that did the most to hurt his image as being a whiny little bitch. Don't get me wrong, he is. We have to consider that Shinji got progressively worse throughout the series. Although Shinji was reluctant to be the pilot, after the first few episodes, Shinji actually seemed to be improving. He was adjusting to his new life, piloting the Eva, and navigating the twists and turns of his massive love triangle. Through the first 15 episodes, in fact, I think Shinji was improving as a human being. He was taking the general hero's journey's path. He was getting closer to his love interests. He was enjoying piloting the Ava. He was solving all the problems that he encountered on the battlefield. It's just the hero's journey. You start off as no one or weak, and then, he's continuing to get stronger and more confident and resolve some of these tensions in the story. And I think that considering how bad a place Shinji was at the beginning, he was doing a good job keeping it together. Now, when you talk about episode 16 on, here is where things start going bad for Shinji. While most stories start with the hero being this lowly character and ascending to the top to take on this massive goal, Shinji actually goes back to where he started. But this isn't just random. Let's look at what was going on in the show at that point. The Evas were increasing in their intelligence, their consciousness, their psychology, and in their humanness. And in episode 16, Shinji gets transported to another dimension where he slowly starts to suffocate whilst hallucinating about his past and his relationships. I don't know about you, but that seems like a traumatic experience. And I'm not sure how many of you guys would, deal well with being almost like asphyxiated slowly while you can see it happening. That's like a maddening type of experience. And the fact that he's, able to recover from that at all is in itself impressive. In his next fight in episode 18, he's actually forced to kill his best friend, or one of his best friends from school, Ikari, and his father forces him to do it. That was really devastating for the character, and I think that this might be one of the better reasons he has to not pilot the Ava, because his dad is going to force him to do anything necessary in order to complete his objective. So we really got to take the relationship between him and his father into account. In Shinji's next fight, he had to fight an Ava, which seemed to suck in Rei's consciousness and mind attack you until he watches Rei kill herself in a suicide attack. In the next fight, he has to kill Kworu, who he probably wanted to bang too, let's be honest. He had a little man crush there. Shinji didn't start in the best of states as a character, and the more he piloted the Ava, the shittier his life was going. So I'm going to argue that what people aren't appreciating about Shinji enough is that Shinji is a very human character. Shinji does not just stick to the standards path of the hero's journey. Shinji is the antithesis of a character like Amuro from Mobile Suit Gundam. Instead of being this cold, psychopathic killer who's ready at all times to murder whoever he comes in contact with, Shinji actually shows signs of remorse, regret, and sorrow over not only his decisions, but the role he played in the events as they happened. And you really, really take away the impression that Shinji is actually hating himself more and more with each episode. I think it's important to have a protagonist like Shinji, and the character probably deserves more respect. Most of the people who say Shinji needs to man up would shit their pants in life-threatening situations. And don't tell me he should just get used to it, because he has done it so many times already. If you look at real life troops, they rotate the frontline soldiers. Do you want to know why they rotate the frontline soldiers? It's because they go crazy when they're on the front line for too long. When you hear people talking shit about Shinji, it kind of feels like you're walking up to a Vietnam vet living under a bridge somewhere and throwing dirt into his face and telling him to man up. I know there's some sadistic people out there who might be into that sort of thing, but that would just make you more like Shinji anyways, right? And before you crucify me as being some kind of Evangelion fanboy, I do acknowledge that the series has a laundry list of flaws that hold it back from being a perfect series. I just feel like Shinji shouldn't be one of them, because as much as people love to hate this character, I feel like his character is one of the best elements of Evangelion, and one of the things that really, really make it stand out as a series. So I don't have a problem with you hating Shinji, because I think that, you're supposed to hate Shinji, but I think that we need to hate Shinji for the right reasons, and that's because he's a character who is very dark and bad and is afraid of himself and what he can do to other people, and is, just a kind of sadistic and masochistic person at heart. But I don't feel like it's fair to just hate Shinji because you think you could have done a better job. That's not good. So stop that. We need to get a better. Yeah, no. You would not have done a better job. You would have died on the first mission. So, yeah, that's all. This has been a Defense of Shinji. Peace.